everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Rayados90 podcast. I'm your host, as always, Eddie, and joining me, as always, is Zamira and Fernando. Uh, uh, we haven't recorded like in a month or so, or a little bit over a month.
Long time no see.
But you guys have done
Yeah.
your own thing, so you guys have filled in the gap for me. Um,
A sad
yeah,
gap.
no, yeah, no. I am like I was telling you guys off recording. I was in Japan for like half of October for like 2 weeks, and then I come back and the Dodgers are in the World Series. So like, no offense, but Monterrey like was like taking a back seat to my life, and you guys are telling me thank God. I mean, I've read people's tweets. I saw some of the games. I didn't, once once I was getting ready to go out touristy things, I was watching. I had the game on my phone, and just paid attention to it as much as I could. But then I went out and enjoyed vacation. But I kept reading people's tweets, and you guys have gave me this conspiracy theory that they were faking it, that they're just trying to get through the season, and once the Liguilla starts, which they'll be facing America, which won't be an easy task, but they'll turn on whatever needs to be turned on, and they'll ride the wave to a championship.
Look, it's the first time in a while that Rayados comes into the Liguilla with almost no injuries. So I'm on the conspiracy train that they did it on purpose. I sort of got the second that we stepped foot on the America game, which I think we're gonna be home 1st.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a whole different like Rayados, and everyone's gonna notice it, and like we're just gonna make fun of it. I hope so.
I think that's the only thing you can tell yourself, because I jumped back into the really focusing on Monterrey was the last game against Chivas, which is not the. I mean,
No, not the
it
best
was
game
not
you
the
had.
best game to jump back in, because it was 3-0, and then they gave you that little bit of false hope that
Oh, God.
they're going to come back to tie it. But then, of all people, Chicharito gives the final nail in that game, and yeah, they
It was
lose.
Mele's own goal, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
but
Oh,
yeah, okay. I'm gonna let you guys take the lead. We'll talk about the last few weeks. Pretty much the finish to the season. Because summing up this season, they really didn't beat any of the contenders that you'd say, oh, that team is going to be a contender. They drew against Tigres. I think drew against America, if I'm not mistaken. Lost to Toluca.
lost
They
to
lost
Cruz
to
Azul,
yeah.
lost to Pachuca,
Chivas.
tied
Yeah,
to Chile.
but I think of the teams that finished above them, I think those are the only ones where you can say, yeah, they're going to be. I don't think Chivas kind of proved that they can be had. It's not like they're this machine. But I think the four that we're really talking about, like America, Toluca, Cruz Azul, and Tigres. I don't know what's going to happen with Pachuca. If they fired their coach, they bring in a new coach. That's a different approach. But
Solari.
yeah. Of those four
I mean, it's
teams, they
Solari.
didn't beat any. They didn't beat any of them. Their defense has been really, really, really bad. The formations, they feel sometimes it feels like they're just writing something on a piece of paper and just throwing it, putting the paper in wet and see whichever one sticks. Because they can come out with or Torrent comes out with these weird formations, these weird systems. I have no idea what he's thinking. And yeah, I think that's like the cliff notes of what went on this season. I know you guys have some sort of hope that this team will click, being an older team, and I feel like, to me, if they don't win the league title this year, I think a lot of changes need to happen, because
Yes.
you just can't roll out a bunch of 30-year-olds
Again,
and think to me it's just, this is the end. To me, this is the end of the
The
train.
last chance. Yep.
This is their last chance. A lot of players' contracts are either coming up after this winter or next summer, and I think it's time to. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on with one of the transfer rumors, but I think it's time to, hit the. I don't want to say rebuild button, but
But
you have to retool this
Restructured,
team. Yeah,
definitely.
because
yeah,
it's a lot. You can't come out with like most of your team being 30 or older. But before we get there, what was your, and I'll start with you, Zamira, first. What was your sensations? And I know you said, both of you said, this is, they're gonna turn the switch on. But for you, what was like the feelings, this last few games of the season, uh, where I don't think they even beat Pumas too, so they didn't beat someone like, I'm not saying Pumas is a title contender, but they didn't beat like the big, quote unquote, the big teams or whatever too, right? So it was just,
you didn't
it,
beat the 10th place.
yeah,
We ended up in a tie, and
yeah,
it's like the worst contender in La Liguilla. So
yeah. But I'll start with you, Samir. What was your after a few days, now we're like pretty much in the midway point. We have to get over this stupid play-in that for some reason is still around. And then get to the league up. But what's your, how did you like feel like after that season under Torrent, where it started off in a positive with the Club World Cup? I didn't give a shit about the Leagues Cup, so I'm not putting that in. But if you want to put that in,
Definitely.
and it started off well because they're beating teams that in the past they would drop points to.
Yeah.
But then against the contenders, it was like, okay, this is where the worrying starts, and then the worrying just kept getting worse and worse. But what's your reaction to this season, to this first tournament under Torrent? And for you, what does he need to do to keep his job? Because I don't think he's one of these high-paid managers like Demichelis was.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to be. I mean, you don't want to get rid of a third coach in your project or whatever you want to call this. But I would assume that being an older guy, being Liga MX coach more, he didn't like demand a high salary. I think they can get out of it. I mean, it's not ideal that you go through a third coach, but I would assume that they can get out of his contract. But for you, what was your feelings towards the end of the season? You obviously told me a little bit what you think is going to happen in Liga, and then what's your expectation for Torrent to like for you to be convinced that okay, I can give this guy another chance because CONCACAF is coming up, and you need to win that competition. You cannot go another season and lose it because then you'd have
Fun.
two opportunities to qualify
Okay,
and
yeah.
two opportunities to win that competition for Club World Cup. So for you, what's your overall like I said, what's your overall thoughts on how the season ended at Torrent and just Liga in general?
Um, it's really weird, like you mentioned, starting like in a good position. Because Rayados, I don't know if like people forgot, but Rayados started being like the leader of the Liga for a couple jornadas, really. So it's like if you start in a positive way, knowing the players that Torren had, like the players that went to the Club World Cup, how they played, how he tactically showed, the capacity of him understanding how to play against different rivals. So it's like, dude, if you understood how to, keep, well, they were winning against Inter de Milan, and then you're like, but it's a team that's going to be pushing all through the game. You cannot, you know, rest or not care about it or just be confident. So the way that he showed that capacity, or that something that he was able to understand who they were playing against, it was something that we kind of thought he had, but now knowing that against Cruz Azul, Chivas, Toluca, Tigres, it's like you know that the first clásico you need to win it in order for you to start with like the right food. So as far as him staying as the coach, being champion, I other than that, it's like, okay, we know that having the best tournament, it doesn't even care because we've been winning. Well, not lately, but there were tournaments that we were winning and breaking points and breaking records and whatever, but that meant nothing because we started to face teams like Pachuca, like San Luis, like I mean facing Tigres. You know, it's complicated when you're not fully 100% prepared for the liguilla because that's a Mexican soccer football. That's how it is. It doesn't matter what you did the whole year, the whole 6 months. You gotta show it in the last, what is it, 2, 4, 6 games. So it's like I really hope that this really bad tournament, it's gonna be like, hey, you can still get something out of this 6 whole months that people are criticizing you, and just do a good job. The players, we have them. We have capacity. We have players like Canales. We have players that Berterame lately he was showing up. We have Anthony Marcial that he knows that if he's not stepping in the liguilla, he's out because he's done nothing. So it's like at this point, I feel like Torren understands the importance of how you're gonna play the liguilla because we're all tired of seeing the same game. Like whenever Rayados gets stuck in a game, you feel it. We know it as fans. Like, oh, they're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna recover. They're gonna stay like that. It's a lost game. So that's the only thing I don't want to feel anymore at the liguilla. Knowing that they're playing like they're just walking around, like they don't care, they're not making efforts. I don't care if they keep fighting, if somebody gets like, if they get a lot of yellows or whatever, but just run for the ball, try to do something, shoot from wherever you are, and just try to understand how to play against each rival. Because if you're gonna play against Toluca and have a defense that it's just gonna stay on the back instead of having a personal follow up with the defense and the strikers like Alexis Vega or Paulinho, we're not gonna be able to do anything. So even if it's Ramos or Stefan Medina, you can't put them together because they're not gonna be able to be as fast as someone like that. So it's just like I just hope the Liguilla has a completely different base and we don't get to see the same thing as we've been seeing this last couple finals and semifinals, that they're just walking on the pitch. I would hate to see that. That's the only thing I don't want to see. So I just want to see at least that they're trying and that they understand that they can rescue whatever they did bad in the past couple games. They can rescue it in 6 games. So that's the only way that you can keep this job. And like you said, it's the last chance. There's no way.
Yeah, yeah. And you, Fernando, what was your take away from like the last few games? What what do you want to see from this team, and what for you is like, okay, Torren can keep his job if he does this? Because yeah, it wasn't very good football that they were playing. So it's just like what exactly needs to happen for you to be, obviously the goal will be champions, but for you it's what for you it's like, okay, I mean, you saw it with Demichelis. They reached the final. They gave him
Another
another
season.
tournament, and that was it. That's all I could. That's all it bought him. And I do not know if you know that's if reaching the final is going to be enough, because it's going to feel like they've relived this thing all over again. And some of these players are older, and you're going to have to switch. So is this the guy you want to morph? I don't know, whatever project this is, into something long term. But for you, what was your takeaway from this tournament?
It's a really difficult thing to describe because I feel like this tournament in itself has had a lot of different situations in which Rayo make you feel like different each and every time. So we had the Club World Cup. Torrent was doing like prime Torrent, the best that we have ever seen him play. He played against Inter, against Dortmund, against River, and against Urawa, and we did wonders. If we're being honest, that Dortmund game, I still to this day believe that we got robbed. Even though I am a Borussia Dortmund fan as well, just we just got robbed. There were some the penalty and a goal that almost should have been. We leave it at like at the past now. But when we started this season, Torrent was being really responsive towards those initial teams. But I feel like we've talked about this a lot of times. I feel more comfortable having somebody like Torrent be strong at the beginning of the tournament to then start dropping points, start doing your mix, start knowing what's able to work in Liga MX. Because if we're being honest, Liga MX is not like the other leagues. Everyone else plays differently. Liga MX is one of the dirtiest ones, in my opinion. Not like Argentinian dirty, which is like aggressive. More like our type of play is clumsy, dirty. Not to say that it's bad. It's nice to watch and it's really entertaining, but Torrent comes from a school of like managers. There are like top European teams. So if one of the, in this case, people that were mentored by Pep at the time comes with a vision like this to Liga MX, we should be saying that Liga MX is just harder and like put the respect to the name. But it's just a crazy league. So, in my opinion, for him to take half of the season, start dropping points, and start experimenting, that's why I'm still keeping the facade of like, hey, maybe we're gonna see a different team in Liguilla. Maybe he knows how to play them because if you know how to play Liguilla with Atletico de San Luis, you're gonna know how to play with Rayados, and you're not gonna show your cards like straight away because that's everything that we usually do. If we go back into the Michelis like 2 seasons, we ended at 5 and we ended at 7. The first time that we ended on 7th place, we went all the way to the final because it's when the Michelis took over the Noriega, not no, Gato
Tan
Ortiz,
Ortiz.
no,
Tano.
Dan Ortiz. I got
Catortis?
mixed. Gato Ortiz. uh, we saw him take over, and it was like we couldn't see that much of the Michelis inside of Liga, and then we arrived all the way to the finals. So at this point, just I am a believer. Maybe he was doing it for a reason, and it's getting to the point where I already know that some players are going to retire after this season. We are seeing Hector Moreno leave afterwards, like officially retiring. Although I thought he had played his last game, but we're starting to see players like Stefan Medina get up there. Although it's one of my favorite ones, I know that the love for the team that he has, he's gonna be able to take a side, like do a sidestep. So it's just either you have to win it this season because you're gonna have player leaves that deserve another championship, another title. And Torrent, I feel like is the one that is able to close that gap out right now in the Liguilla. Although we did see him lose against Cruz Azul 2-0, we did see him lose against Chivas 4-2, and then a tie with Tigres, which that tie we should have won, but then again, the referee was a mess. So it's just like we just have to wait and see at this point because we don't know what's gonna happen. Liguilla MX is like it's just so random that like we've seen teams like Atlas do like a back-to-back champion.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen teams like Leon back in like I don't remember when do back-to-back as well. You've seen teams just rise up on Liguilla that they were not doing that well during the initial tournament, but at least from the pattern that I'm seeing with the Rent, started off strong after the Club World Cup, Leagues Cup. Nobody cares about that, and then you start like changing things up once Salcedo comes back, once the people that were injured and the players that like we wanted to get in, like we're fully fit. Because once you notice that like we were full squad fit, that's whenever you start noticing that Torrent starts mixing things up, so he can start learning what's the best play for this player. So I'm still trusting.
Um, let's move on to one. We know that Torrent's under pressure to beat America because, or else, more than likely, I wouldn't even put the pressure on him. At some point, you got to point upstairs. You can't go through three coaches. I think that should be enough. I mean, two coaches should be enough. Three is one too many for me. But what's one player that you're thinking this guy has to perform because either he's going to lose fan confidence or supporter confidence, or he's probably going to be out. What's one player that you, and I'll start with me first. What's one player that you really need to see like take it up another level for this team to kind of erase the last two months? I would say the last 2 months that they struggled, either defensively and sometimes offensively, for you to be like, okay, this guy has. If this team is going to win a championship, this team or this player needs to find another level to his game, or else this it's just gonna we're gonna get eliminated against America or whatever.
I feel like there's only one answer to this question. And
I'll let you go. Go ahead, Fernando. Go ahead, Fernando. I'll let you go first.
Mele.
Damn.
Like, in my opinion, Mele has had quite a season. That suddenly we see him in an international play again, and then suddenly he's Mele again. It's the player which I've expected out the most, but there's been so many mistakes throughout the season that look like a joke. And I'm sorry, there has been own goals, not just one. There's like I think two that you're not gonna count it towards Mele, but you know that through his actions, like the one against Chivas, like was an own goal, and like you just don't count it because it's gonna look worse on the player, so they just don't like record it. But thinking about all the prior games, I mean, as soon as we put Mochis in, we won and we tied, and then we come back to no, we lost against Cruz Azul 2-0 with the dumb Chica Toros goal. So that yeah. But either way, you were starting to see like with Mochis a little bit of more like solidness on the back. You come back, and in 2 games you receive 5 goals against Chivas and against Tigres. 5 goals, and it's like we signed you for a reason. And if we look at Esteban Andrada right now, he's not doing pretty well. He's doing like
I mean,
worse.
It's
I think he's last place in like the second league of Spain. So that's the keeper that we used to have.
But it hasn't been an upgrade. That's the thing. It's like when you switch somebody out, you're hoping it's going to be an upgrade. I don't think Mele is more expensive. I don't think. Again, I hate that they don't give out like how much they're paying him like they do in Europe, where you can get the numbers as how much he's earning. Maybe the top players they'll give you something, but the thing is like I think you could probably if I don't like I said I don't think he's that expensive coming from Junior. I don't think. I mean, it wasn't that of an expensive a buy either. Granted, it's not my money, but for you, Fernando.
So,
do you want to go through another tournament where this guy is? I guess what I'm saying is like if he shows you if he gives you some type of confidence in Liguilla, America or Liguilla in general, like going if we advance past them.
In case we do.
What is it enough for you to say, okay, let's give him a chance? Because I think people are just tired of the goalkeeping situation being like what's funny is that the last guy that gave you some type of confidence was Barovero, but the guy wasn't even in his prime anymore. He wasn't even
I still miss him to this day.
Like you got like the last drops of whatever good football he had, right? It wasn't a guy in his prime. And so for you, what do you need to see from Mele for you to have like that I don't think they're gonna ship him out. I don't think they're gonna ship him out. I think there are other foreign players that are gonna get the pink slip first. but who knows? A disaster, a disaster game against America
Toluca.
can America or whatever happens. But for you personally, what do you need to see from Melec for you to have like that confidence going into that will say, okay, you know, this guy can be the goalkeeper of the future, considering he's like what 28 years old.
So,
27. No,
yeah,
28.
it's 27, 28. But I mean, right now, Mele, at least you have two or three. Well, not at least two clean sheets throughout the Liguilla, and I'm counting that you have to stay with less goals than the other team. Like that's the point. We have to at least reach the final, and he has to have at least two clean sheets, in my opinion, for him to be like, okay, you know what, he's the guy. Because we're seeing players like Acevedo struggle to get positions in like Selección Mexicana, and you see him balling out with Santos, getting MVPs like several times with a team that sadly he already gave them one championship. He can leave. Like you already did your job there. What's stopping us from doing this switch? Two clean sheets, getting to the final. He's 28 years old, and at least from his old like salary that he had, he was winning $250,000 in junior, which is a lot. He at least came for like half a million to Rayados, because you're not gonna step down your salary knowing that a powerhouse like Rayados is coming for you. So having somebody on the payroll, which making a little bit more sense, is one of the higher ones. Like he's not Canales, he's not Sergio Ramos, he's not Ocampos, but he's like right below that tier.
Yeah, he's probably second tier.
Yeah.
Because I think Andrada was making close to $1 million, or a little bit more. 'Cause it was like because it was like, it was like for the most part, I remember it was like Canales, somebody else, and then it was like Andrada. I was like, I think he was like
Yeah,
top
he
four,
was.
and I don't think Mel is top
If
four in
if I
wages.
remember, it was like Vegas before he left. I
Yeah.
remember. I think it was
Well,
like
Hey,
some
he's still
stupid thing.
technically a Monterrey player, so he didn't leave. I mean, he
He's coming
temporarily
back.
left, but he's coming back.
Locan
who?
is also coming.
Sebastian Vegas. Oh,
Sebastian
unless
Vegas.
I don't think Colo Colo has. I don't. Maybe
No,
they
but
might
Didn't.
ask for the loan, or
Nope.
I have no
They
idea.
didn't. They didn't activate the bike back
The buy
clause,
option.
and
The buy
yeah.
option. Yeah.
So
so
So yeah,
he's still from Rayados?
yeah.
mhm.
He left just on loan, and he's still until 2028, right? 20
Yeah.
2028. Yeah. So you still have 2 more. You're going 2 more years.
This
So
is this
he's
is the
going.
last chance for Tato. That's
I think.
crazy.
I think he's going to be the what type of player that just kept coming. I think he's going to be like the what's the one player that I'm trying to think of a player that
Who's it been in, like the last years?
uh, I think he's going to be. I mean, he's going to be the Hugo Gonzalez. Like remember, Hugo Gonzalez went back to Necaxa, then came back, went to Mazatlan on loan. So I think it's going to be a little bit more to the extreme. I think they're going to have to loan him out two more times. I don't think, and they're gonna have to pay his wages because nobody. I mean, if you send him to South America, no, outside of Brazil,
Nobody.
nobody's gonna afford those wages. So you're pretty much gonna have to pay him to go away. But we'll get to. Let's not get to let's not talk. Yeah, he's yeah. But Mele for you, Fernando, has to be the guy that
Steps
has
up.
to elevate his game if this team wants to win a championship. Zamira, I don't know if you want to go a different player just to not repeat Mele, but who's for you is has to step up their game if this team wants to win a championship?
I would I would say Marcial, Anthony. Like
Oh,
it's I mean, here's the thing. You did not pay that much money for him. And he might not be one of the best paid. So I would he hasn't done anything. Like anything. Like De La Rosa has more goals than him. De La Rosa. Like that's crazy, you know? He's one of the players that I do feel that he's gonna like have the best liguilla because he might be one of those players that's gonna step up when you need them. But honestly, he has done like nothing. And it's not that he's being expensive right now. I mean, we're struggling with the foreign spots. We're struggling with strikers cuz let's be honest, the whole problem in this last couple tournaments has been not scoring, and we were blaming Berterame, and right now Berterame has been responding, but you brought Anthony Marshall to be, that killer striker, and we still don't have it. And Berterame still takes a foreign spot, and Anthony Marshall takes a foreign spot. You're not giving that much of opportunity to Mojica, but I would tell you other names to leave, such as Eric Aguirre or Rica Chavez or Hueso, because they're not young, and you understand that they're just a bench players. But talking about foreign spots and like Corcho, they're like he had mistakes, and then everyone wants him out, and it's been all the tournaments that they want him out, but this tournament it was not that bad, and everyone was like, you know what, well, he's not that bad, like I told you, right? But he might, if he okay, so if Corcho has the like a bad liguilla or has a mistake like he's usually been having, we know that he's leaving
Yeah.
for,
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
it's also he also occupies a foreign spot, so it's like
Exactly,
I
because
think your
you're
foreign
struggling with
spots,
foreign spots.
you have to you have to be. I guess Canales has kind of spoiled it because you can consistently rely, like he can keep playing at a certain level, and then you got other guys that are just too inconsistent, and
Yeah.
that's where it's like when you measure it to Canales, it's like
Exactly. and and
that
and
it, they,
and Canales is the one that gets the most of criticism, and it's like, dude, he's the only player that he's been consistent. So it's like I feel Canales is gonna leave because I saw just an interview. I don't know if
yeah.
it was yesterday or 2 days ago that he was like, I'm happy here. I'm healthy." Like he decided to step out of Betis because he felt the his health was not like to step up or
Yeah,
give the spot to the young players. But he in Rayados, it's like, of course we're gonna be keeping him there. But
and
I feel Canales also
he
might
hasn't
be
signed an
desperate of the
extension.
situation of his teammates because it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this. I think I mean, no one's gonna blame him if he decides, you know what, these last the following 6 months that are left in his contract, because his contract expires June 2026. He says, you know what, I'm gonna go back to Spain, and just end my career there. Nobody's gonna say, well, you abandoned the team or whatever, because this team really it stinks. Like, I'm sorry, like they have not built the team that's convinced. They did not bring a striker that's of Canales' level. They haven't fixed the goalkeeping spot. The coaches have been rotating, and so nobody can say, "Well, why did he leave? Why did he abandon the team?" Or say some stupid shit that you're probably going to hear. And it's
Yeah.
just like, dude, it's just look what happened. I compare it to like when Otani left the Angels. You only had Mike Trout, and then that was it. Bad owner, terrible spending, and then he goes to the Dodgers. They spend all this money, they get all these players, and they win back to back. So it's like you have the resources. Why aren't you getting players that can play
That's
like? But
That's what gets everyone mad. It's like you have the resources. It's not like you don't have money like teams like Mazatlan that they just sold Mazatlan.
it's not like
It's not
when
like you don't have
it's not
money.
like you
They
Querétaro when
just
they
sold
got
us.
Ronaldinho, and it's just like it's just that was it. Like you can get some players that are onto his
I feel
level, and then I don't know exactly. And I'm gonna we'll get we'll end this conversation. I don't even know what exactly is happening with Lucas Ocampos. I mean, I don't think that saga is gonna end well. I mean, if you're leaving him out for these games that you needed to win to like just improve your, try to get some home, get a home pitch advantage and also have the tiebreaker. I don't think why you would leave out an attacker of his caliber, but I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But go ahead, Samir. I'll let you wrap up. You know,
I
your
mean, it's just like knowing that you have the resources, like you said, and I feel like the decisions are not bad, like the players or the coaches, but it's weird that making good decisions or making bringing good players and bringing all that, it's still not working. So it must be, like you said, like if you change, honestly, I would stay with Torrent, but depending on the situation with the players. But at this point, it's like I guess you're seeing a pattern. So if you're changing that, like you said, you gotta go higher and see where's the problem. Is it really the relationship with La Liga Mexicana? Because I mean, come on, we've seen all the games being rigged. Like I honestly want to say that they were really bad because I don't care if El Gato Ortiz gets us 3 penalties. We know that's not going to happen. And we know what's going to happen with America. So now you understand. Rayados, it's playing like they're already losing. So that's what gets
Yeah,
us mad. Like you have the resources and you know how Liga Mexicana is.
yeah. For me, just to be different from you guys, I think it's for me it's gonna be Bartolome, like you said. The to me, like Bartolome scores goals, but at some point I need goals in important moments, or when you desperately need a goal. Because I look back over the last year, didn't score against America in the time. You can say, well, he scored against Pumas and Atletico. I'm sorry, that's not going to convince me
Mhm.
for it to keep. Especially, he's going to keep a
Yeah.
foreign spot. He's not going to get called up to the World Cup. I think people need to get that reality. He's going to occupy a foreign spot for as long as he's here. To me, he didn't. Like I said, he didn't score against America. He didn't score against the tie against Vancouver. He missed one. I think his hit the post or something like that. But he didn't score against Vancouver in that second leg that he played. He scored in that first leg against Toluca, so I'll give him that. But he didn't score against Toluca when we were up a man for like over an hour.
Yeah.
And so like he did score against Aurora Diamonds, but he didn't score against River Plate. He didn't score against Inter Milan. So it's like,
He scored against Borussia.
okay, I'll give you that. Um, but it's just like I need more. I need a striker that's going to come up. I mean, you see Paulinho with what he's doing, and what he did, and it's just like, why can't we have a striker of that caliber? And it's just like
If we
I
had
need,
the money.
and we have we have the money, and it's just like, again, and it gets connected with Canales. It's like, why can't you? Like, I just want a striker that I know is going to come up clutch, and I don't know if Bertarame has that clutch gene. I mean, I go back to when he said, it's not all on his shoulders, and since then it's just like
Oh man.
I I'm trying
Yeah,
to
with
buy
that
in.
declaration.
Yeah, I just want a striker that is going to come up clutch. That's all I want. I want somebody that when the situation is tense, that they're going to rise up and they're going to score a goal. Like I know, or that they're going to put in, they're going to create the goal themselves, something. I guess I just want that clutch player that I think we've lacked some type of clutch player. Like I know Canales is great enough, but like that's not his job to score goals. Like his job, is to orchestrate and pull all the strings, right? I just want a striker that I know is going to come up clutch. And I feel like for me, against America, this is you have to come up big for me,
Just
because
bring Joe Pedro.
he
I
has to come up big to me. Berterame he has to score in both legs for me to like buy into him at least a little bit more than what I have right now. He has to score in both goals or both legs. Like, look, man, as much as I'm not the biggest Funes Mori like defender and all that, but I seen him score twice in a final, right? And I have this guy who has not scored in a final and didn't score in the both legs against Toluca, and especially when we were up a man. Actually, De La Rosa scored a goal speaking against Toluca when we needed a goal in that second leg against Toluca, and we were playing, with a man up
he's
for over
stepping
an
up
hour.
when needed.
Yeah, and so I think I just to me, I think for me personally,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like if he doesn't do anything in these two legs against in these 180 minutes, or both legs, I'm going to say both games against America, I'm just not buying into him. He can score against score against Atlas, score against San Luis, or score many goals in the regular season. At the end of the day, this like we just said, this league is won in the playoffs. This is a playoff league. If you're not scoring consistently in the playoffs or in big moments, like against Vancouver, um, you know, I'm
And you
sorry, you occupy a foreign spot. I think it should be
and you can still
evaluated.
get good money from MLS teams.
Yeah, and twice. You had Cincinnati
Yeah.
and Portland won him for over $10 million. So
I mean,
We'll
and
see.
he's still valued like just
He's
above
still
10
valuable.
million.
I
So
think
you
next
can still
summer,
get.
and he's under contract until 2027, I believe.
So it's not easy
Um,
to let go. Like he still has at least a year and a half on his contract. He's
but I
10
think
mil.
you can sell into an MLS team. Still, I think he'll have. I think he's
Yeah.
27. I think he's 27. I think you could still sell him to an MLS team. But I think at this point, for me personally, if he doesn't come up big in both games, not just one, in both, then I'm just not going to buy into him. I would prefer you look for another striker that's actually a striker and just has that track record of scoring goals in
I'm
big matches, because I think that's what we've lacked. We've lacked somebody. I mean, we lost to America. Only Canales scored and Joan Rojas scored. Where's our striker? Where was our striker there? So, and where was our striker? And again, De La Rosa scored against Vancouver. It's just going back, like in those big games. Where was our striker? And so it's just, to me, at some point, I just can't be. I just need somebody that's going to come up, rise to the occasion, and score in both of these legs
yeah.
against American. And I think for me, it's better that I has to step up somehow. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Um, uh, let's move on to transfer stuff, because while Monterrey is still playing, they have already reportedly made an offer for Brian Gutierrez, who plays for Chicago Fire. Also got his Mexican passport, so he will not count as a foreign player, because yeah, he's now a Mexican player, even though he didn't come up through a Mexican team's youth system. Um, I think the team needs to get younger. Like we just talked about, I think this is the last chance for all these players to win something. You can't have, I can roll off all the players that are 30 and older. You got Ocampos, Canales, uh, uh, Martial's 29, Tecatito's over 30. I think Oliver Torres is 30 and older. I think Ocho's 28, 29 years old. I know Salcedo's over 30. Ramos is over 30, way over 30. Hector Moreno, Stefan Medina.
30,
I think Rica Chavez is 30. And then you
31.
got Wesso Reyes. So you got a lot of guys that are like over 30. This is not a good way to build. This is always going to be something short term. Although with Canales, you would have thought that, hey, this is a 3-year window. Let's build something for him. But
Yeah.
obviously, as the seasons went along and they just couldn't get anything right, it became something short term, because I think they're just trying to win. Because at some point, you just can't keep signing older, expensive players. Like, you need guys you need younger legs. You need guys that can, if we have a game on Sunday or Saturday, and we're gonna do this with CONCACAF, they could play on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I don't think with this team you can do that. And
Exactly.
so, getting a guy like Brian Gutierrez to likely replace. I mean, he plays on both wings and he plays as an attacking midfielder. Depending on again, I do not know why they're going to go grab a player if you don't know who the coach is going to be, and so you don't know if they fit the system or not. But I guess this is just how they operate. But
I mean, he to the point for Brian. He's a pretty versatile player.
yeah,
Like you said, plays on both wings, plays a pretty good attacking midfield role. He plays like a good, uh, not as much as a box to box, but he tends to do the same role that Canales kind of does whenever he's like a little bit further back. Like he comes in and picks up the ball. He's a player that I feel like can fit into any type of scheme that any coach can put him into. So at least this one, I feel like uh, the board is actually doing a pretty good job on
yeah,
bringing
yeah. No, I
a
don't think it. I don't.
22-year-old
Yeah,
that
he's 22. He's it's young. You need to you need to you know you need to turn over the squad. You can't have, I don't know how many players that I just named that are 30 and older.
yeah,
It's fine to have 3 or 4, but you need guys that are either entering their prime or are in their prime, um, to you know be successful. You just can't have a bunch of older guys. And you guys are buying into they just took it off, and they're gonna turn it on. But if they don't turn it on, then it just points more that, hey, you just can't have an older team, right? You just can't have a bunch of, I think I just named 10 players that are 30 and older. You just can't do that. That's not a
It's kind
You
of
need some younger
it's here to
legs.
mention. the younger players than the rest of the team because it's the majority. They're older than 30.
We
Yeah.
have like
It's just
without
like
counting
Ambris,
Cárdenas, we have
Fimbres.
Rica,
I
Salcedo,
it's
Hector,
it's easier to
John,
count the number of
Mina.
players that are not
Are
like are
Yeah,
younger.
25 and under, 25 and under, and that's only like Fimbres, and that's it. You can't.
Fimbres,
You,
Ambris,
Porto,
Mojica.
and Mojica, yeah, so like three, so like three
Por-
players, you know.
Porcho is 30, Oliver is 31, Canela is 34,
Yeah,
Tagatito 32,
yeah.
Campos 31. List
It's
goes on.
not it's not a good way to. I mean, this is a short term way to build a team, right? Let's like we're
Yeah.
going all in. This is not long term. This is I don't even think it's you can't even call it a project. This is just win now and that's it. Like we're putting all our chips to the table, and we're going to see if we can win a title in a year, and that's it. Like there's no. I think now it's the reality has kind of set in. You got to get younger.
Yeah.
The thing is that the timing isn't that perfect. And for me, and I'll let you guys kind of chime in and on what you guys think of the Gutierrez potential because America is the other team that's kind of in on him. But I really wish they would have started this in the summer.
Yeah.
But I know they had the Club World Cup, so you can't do as much as we want. But it's just like now you have CONCACAF. It's like,
I
it's
mean,
not the right time. It's not the right time to like say we're gonna revamp our entire because they do have to revamp that entire defense. We got most of the older players are on defense, right? And you got players that are leaving. I don't know what exactly Salcedo is going to be at this point, but you got Ramos. I think he's gone. I mean, they haven't said anything about a contract, so until he signs something, he's gone. So the two players that are pretty much going to be there are I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Stefan Medina either, but the two players that you could probably pencil in to be like, yeah, they're probably going to stay regardless is Toro Guzman. I don't think he's going to leave anywhere, and Salcedo. And I don't know what the hell is. I think that's it. Like I don't know. After that, I can't like guarantee anybody else being there.
I mean, Arteaga, which I feel like out of all the fullbacks that we have, he's the only one that is like kind of decent. But I feel like
he's not taking a spot, so it's different.
I feel like we've been ignoring something that might have changed the whole like season. Dosa left at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I think they didn't replace him.
We just lost.
And a lot of people said that he was not necessary, and he was definitely necessary.
Well, I mean, he's not. I guess it was a good marriage because he's not doing anything in Spain either. So
we got lucky on that one, but
yeah, that was one of those things. Like, yeah, you know what? And I don't think they've wasted a lot of the money that they've brought in because they sold Cortizo, they sold Liddell. So I don't think they got that much for him. I think it was more like, please take him, like get him off our books. It was like, yeah, please take him. We don't. But I think the ones that kind of brought in money were Cortizo, De Osa,
Platanito.
Yeah,
Plátano and Cortizo were
like combined. Yeah,
5 million
together
package.
It was like 5.5 for the both of them.
For both, yeah.
And I don't know what they got. I think Andrade's alone. So either way, but yeah, but I think, and then plus the money from the Club World Cup, which is 20 million. So you got like 30. They haven't wasted any of that money. At least I don't think. Martial, like we said, didn't cost them anything.
He was not even a million.
But
we also sold the most important player on the Inter Miami game, Edson Gutierrez.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the Brian Gutierrez. It's a good signing. We'll see if they can get over the top, but it's needed, and they're gonna have to start before however long this Liguilla goes. They need to start just grabbing young players, like I said, either about to enter their prime years or in the middle of their prime years, because you just can't be relying on guys, because once they're over 30, you don't know when their bodies are going to give out, and you don't know how long. So it's just it's Russian roulette. But what do you guys think of that Gutierrez potential signing?
I feel like
he must. Sorry, he must be signed. Like you cannot let America get him because I feel like America I feel like they're doing the same thing as Rayados, like progressively getting younger.
Yeah,
Dagoberto, he was really good and he actually earned a spot, but then he got injured. Um, and they have young players, so I mean, we need if he's not going to take a foreign spot. He's young. He's been doing good this
first
last
team experience. Yes,
couple
first team
games.
experience. Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
and it's a
right.
position like if it's really that the ability to do whatever multitasking and if you're switching like Torren likes to change the tactics. So they better like if they have the money and now I wouldn't mind them spending more money on young kids that they're gonna have the pressure that they know that they're gonna be um, asking them to actually play as they pay them. Because if they do good, they're gonna get bonuses and whatever. So that's what they should encourage them on bonuses. Don't
Hmm.
make a mistake of giving them like
Well,
this huge thing.
that's what PSG has done, and it worked out well for them. They were like, we're not going to sign these big
Yeah.
name players anymore. We're going to sign a bunch of young players, and we're going to pay them that structure where it's like, the more you play, the better you play. Your contract is constructed that way,
Yeah.
and I think Monterrey has to take that approach to it. But also, and I'll let you, Fernando, maybe you want to chime on this. I think they have to like start bringing in players with just different mentalities. I think Canales was like the first step, but the thing is, they didn't bring in more Canales types of players. I mean,
Yeah.
no offense, Samira, but like I saw the Corcho when he was speaking to the media today say everything is fine. Like again, you might believe that they might be faking it, but it's like, is it really something? It's like, do you really need to say that like everything is fine after you just got, it's been a rough 2 months? Like, it's one of those things that kind of age poorly if the team doesn't just click the switch. But I think I just want players that just have a different mentality that don't that hate to lose.
Yeah,
That
that's
if
what I'm
things are
saying.
going
Like
wrong, they're not going to say, "Well, everything is fine." And we saw it with the Mexican national
exactly.
team, and we'll close that out with that. But I just want players with like a different, like I said, just hate to lose and don't want to lose, and like just have that mindset. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm
Just
asking for too much.
just
Go
to
Nah,
add a
ahead.
that's
little
not too
bit
much.
on the transfer saga, Palavecino is also one of the targets that America is looking for. So if he
Yeah, well,
signs for America, probably
they've
they're
wanted
gonna
him.
be.
Yeah, they've
The,
wanted him since last summer, so that
yeah.
that one doesn't surprise me.
So I mean, they're most likely not just gonna drop two players at the same time. So we might have a little bit of a better option, like a better chance signing Brian
Opportunity.
Gutierrez. So I mean, that's one of the young players that we need. I feel like
Yeah,
it's hard to right now pinpoint like who has a fault because everyone right now has a fault.
yeah. I mean,
So
but just talking about with the others, you see, Ocampos, we don't know what's exactly going to happen with him after
I mean,
this
with
tournament.
Ocampo leaving, we have to get this kid.
Yeah, and then you got Tecatitos in his third. Like he's not like at some point, I I guess you can say, well, he's Mexican, doesn't bother, but at some point, you know, you need somebody that can be an impact, maybe, and I think uh, as he gets older,
I
it's
mean,
just
from
like,
past seasons to Tecatito this season, he's definitely been different player. Because I was before on the path on like, hey, I know that he is like our prodigy child, but he is not doing anything, and then he stepped up this season, like at the beginning during the Club World Cup, then the start of the Liga. So he's like, we're gonna clean house out of a lot of older players. He's 31. I feel like we can
you
still
could
get
30.
probably
the good
hold on for
years.
him for another tournament
Yeah,
and
Just
see
for
what
who he
happens.
is, just for who he is and what he's
yeah.
done. And you can just keep him in the bench and be like, play the last 15 minutes and he might do, you
Like a
just need one
Pablito
or two
Barrera.
that it actually works out for Tecatito and that's it. But I would prefer to have Tecatito at the bench and
I
you
think he
know,
could be the. I think he can be the next Hector Moreno, where you could probably like
yeah,
stash
it's
him
like
for another year at the most, or whatever. I don't know how like I don't know
I
how long
mean,
his
look at
contract
Tigres,
is.
how long they've been taking care of Gignac,
Mm.
and
Uh, yeah, but it's just I think to me, I think that's where like the mindset is. Like I don't want players. We've gone through this with like Ponchito, where they're like, and you can say with like Monchis too, or like I'm happy just to be a backup because I'm getting a nice paycheck to be a backup, and I think that just sets a bad example. I think I want players that are like they smell blood when they have a chance to like play as a starter, right? And I
One of
think
those.
that's the mindset I kind of want the players to have. Like, and then you said it, like maybe just structuring the contract where they're paid on what they
based
do.
on performance.
Yeah. So
I mean,
yeah.
one of those players at the start of the season that I felt like we should have grabbed, and we would have gotten him for cheaper instead of just trying to pursue Martial at the time. Uh, it was Evander. Evander right now with Cincinnati, he went ahead and did another amazing season,
Mhm.
and Evander was not a potential transfer target that Rayados had at the time. Evander was offered to Rayados to fill
Yeah.
in those spot. So right now, yes, with Brian, you at least are getting a Mexican player that will go into your team. But if you make me choose between the two of them, I'm of course gonna go
I
for Evander, and he's gonna be like around. It was not gonna be the same amount, but Evander at the start of the season was gonna be around 15, while he was worth like 12 or 13. I
yeah.
don't remember. And market value right now, Evander is sitting at 18. You're not gonna get him anymore.
Yeah, no. If a
He's
Brazilian
just on
comes, if a Brazilian like Brazilian clubs are throwing around like Palmeiras threw around over 20 million for Victor Roque. Um, Flamengo threw over 20 million euros for Lino. Like if a Brazilian club wants a player, like I said, they can just sell a player like a young Brazilian player for like 40, 50 million euros, and it's like here you go, we'll take the player, and that's it. Like Monterrey can't compete with that, because yeah, they're just it's just a different beast that they can do. But yeah, I think they'll leave it there. I think, but one thing I think, just to touch on your point, maybe they're not like maybe not the foreign players are going to come out because I think they're going to wait to see what happens in Liguilla. Because I would like to think if they
yeah.
fall against America, you would have to think at some point they just can't keep giving Tato chances to like build something, because at some point you just can't have that many chances. I mean, we went through it with Dulio Damina, but yeah, he at least got like 4 trophies, right? He could at least say, "I have 4 trophies. Give me
Yeah.
more time." Tato has 0 trophies, and so at some point you just can't keep giving somebody chances if there's no results, there's no trophies, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens there. I think that's why maybe they'll grab the Mexican players, because regardless they need Mexican players, and so it's nice to get a young Mexican player. So I think that probably is more of a club, like everybody's in agreement,
No,
and
yeah.
it's not just one guy making that decision. But we'll unless you guys have anything else you guys want to add on this topic.
No, I guess we have to wait until Liguilla, and like you said, it's the last chance. Um, it would be hard to point at someone because I feel everyone, like Fernando said, everyone's guilt like on to blame, but I still have a hope that they were faking, and we'll see. I guess I don't want to say anything that it's gonna age badly, like it usually happens. But at the liguilla, it's like it's your last chance, like literally for a lot of players. So I'm just gonna wait for the liguilla.
Yeah. Let's end this last 5 minute conversation, or let's just have this last 5-10 minute conversation. Um, we don't talk about the Mexican national team because I don't have anything to talk about that thing. And I'll be honest. Uh, well, actually, when I was in Japan, I actually got to see the Jap. Like it was when I was there, it was when Japan beat Brazil, and a lot of people were going crazy. I mean, it was a friendly, but the Japanese never beaten Brazil. Uh, but what I'm saying is like it's just weird to like see like the pride. Like it's just night and day is what I'm trying to say. Is like the Japanese national, and again, I guess because the Japanese national team actually plays in Japan, and like there's a their players actually want to like test themselves and not like stuck in some type of zone, comfort zone. So it's just like I said, it's just night and day to like experience like one national team, and then a month later you experience this national team, the Mexican national team, where they're booed out of the they're booed out of Torreon. They're booed in San Antonio. But then you see some of their comments, and it's just like, do these people like live in like some other like fantasy or
Reality.
reality? Because you see Raul Jimenez say some things, you see Edson Alvarez say, you see Cesar Montes, a lot of like mediocre comments, and it's just like, bro, like, why aren't you like, you know, trying to say, yes, we're shit, like like we just can't. There's the results are right there, but there's no really like self criticism. I think if they would just come out and be honest and say like, yeah, we're shit, dude. Like we haven't beaten anybody. The last two like big competitions, the World Cup and the Copa America, we were stuck in the group stage, and it's just like, you know, it's just like I said, night and day. But I think this one really kind of like there's a lot of trolling when it comes to the Mexican national League, but I think this one kind of like I think this one like because you got the World Cup next year on the horizon, it really like and then like there's really kind of no hope, and I think the Monterrey angle can be like Vasco Aguirre is a terrible manager. I do not know why people hold him in such high regard. Like he hasn't he the only like thing he does is rescue teams from relegation, but sometimes he even fails at that. I know he had some type of success with Mallorca, but I mean it's Mallorca. Nobody gives a shit. The only time he had like a big club, was Atletico Madrid. Failed there. At Monterrey, he won a CONCACAF, but it's kind of at least for me, it's kind of tainted because then he followed up to losing up to Al Hilal or Al Hilal, the Egyptian team. When the path to the final was clear, all you needed to win is win that game
Yeah.
and then beat Palmeiras, and then you get to the final. I think against Chelsea, and so like that final or that trophy for me is kind of tainted because of that performance. But I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on just that like whole debacle with that national team, and yeah, just that whole debacle. I don't have to, you can take it anywhere you want with it, but I'll let you go first, Samira, since you have that jersey. I believe you have that jersey.
I have so like
That was the last. That was
that was
like
the
the
last
last.
time we were happy. That
Yeah,
was the last time we believed in them. That was the last time people were with them. I don't want to get too like sentimental with the Mexican team because it's not like you chose Rayados because it's your hometown or because your dad. It's because it's your nationality, and not everyone gets to play for them. So, in order for you as a player to represent your country and to speak up and to be like, hey, there's a lot of national teams stepping up, and you've seen El Salvador, you've seen Costa Rica staying out. Like it was gonna be the last World Cup for Keylor Navas, and who ruined it? Oh, El Piojo Herrera, because he's Mexican.
uh,
And then Tena, like he was doing a good job, and then like goodbye, you're not qualified. So it's like for it's the problem with the Mexican football because
uh,
it's you understand like players like you said like those comments, my comments like cocky, like they're not gonna take, like nobody's gonna take my spot, and we know that because it's
yeah,
really hard for to take out players like Charlie Rodriguez or Jorge Sanchez. And whenever we had this, I mean, we were all like hyped up with Westgas, and we were all hyped up with I mean, right now, the only player that it's literally dragging the whole country, it's Gilberto Mora. He's 17 years
he's not
old.
even. He can't even drink. You can't
Like,
even have a license in the United States.
He
Like
was
I
so
he
think at
it's
was
18
like,
you. I mean, you could
you
have like a
can't.
learner's permit or something like. But I think 18 you gotta have. That's where you can take out your license. So you can't even take out a
yep.
license.
And
But
I like talking about that, like it's a national team that it's weird that it's being pulled by a 17-year-old, but the problem is not them. The problem is the whole
yeah,
organization and how they left it loose.
I think
The core, you know, the
I
heart
think
of the country.
yeah,
So
I
yeah,
think I think it's a combination
Aguirre
of
was the
all three.
biggest mistake.
I think people on this side of the border just for going for the games. I think they just see them as cash cows, and it's like we can just throw out a shit product and people are still going to go to games. I think
Yeah,
that's it. But then you also have players with like really mediocre mentalities. That I mean, I don't know how accurate it was that Flamengo wanted Piojo, but then he comes out like this year's at I think for that All-Star game is like, oh, my dream is to play in MLS, and it's just like, where's the
Damn.
players that want to go to Brazil? Where's the players that are like, am I supposed to applaud you like Cesar Montes because you went to Russia? Like they don't play any type of internet like European competition, so it's just like
They
it's
got
like
banned.
it's just like a combination of like everything like that's wrong just coming in together and just forming a shit ball, and it's just
I
like you
mean,
said, the
but at
only
this,
like good thing is like a 17-year-old, but you're hoping that he doesn't get contaminated. And but again, it's just like it's putting a lot of pressure on a kid that can't even drink legally in the US, can't get a driver's license in the US. And so it's just like,
at the
I don't
same
even know
time,
who's going to be coaching this team, you know. But go
like
ahead, Fernando.
one of the so going off what like Piojo said, there's some Mexican players in like the Uruguayan leagues, in the Argentinian leagues that like are like players that start for their team. We were seeing Lucas Martinez Dupuy be like pretty pretty good for his team last season. They actually went down
Yeah.
this season, so that's kind of sad. But there's like two Mexican players, 117, 119, that are currently playing in the second division of Uruguay, that are currently like they have really high caps. They've been playing like most of the games for their team, and they're actually in position to go out like up this season.
Hmm.
And like, why are we not recognizing those players? They just stop having the like. We stop seeing them once they go into like South America because we don't respect South America anymore as a league where you want to go
Hmm.
because you end up paying them more here in Liga MX. And if we're being honest right now, money is what talks.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
like,
And a lot of players, like Brazil's the only league that can pay you more, but it's just like if you're a Mexican player, and again, this is like me thinking as a mediocre Mexican player, like why am I going to take that, as a Piojo, like why am I going to go to Brazil where they can eat me alive? And I mean, they were complaining that that Torreon was eating them alive. Why am I going to go play in Rio de Janeiro where fucking I'm playing for arguably the biggest club in the country for Flamengo, and if I fuck up one game, they're gonna eat me alive. Whereas if I play for Chivas, I can fuck up. I'm still getting paid my money. Nobody's telling me anything. There's no
I
risk
can
of
score a goal in the
relegation.
tournament, and
Yeah,
that's it.
but that's again, that's the mediocre. That's the me thinking as a mediocre player. But go ahead for now. I'll let you wrap up
it,
that comment.
like at this point, it's like the players that we currently have on the Mexican national team. Those those ones that are currently still in Liga MX, like afraid of going out. They like I at this point I don't even know what to say because
I think
I'm like we're Mexican. Like
I
I'm Mexican. It's my national team. If I was trying to defend those colors, I would bleed out of that pitch before like
well,
walking 5 or 6 steps.
like just what
But
I
I don't
was
know
saying.
why
No,
it.
like I said, just being in Japan during that international break for last October, it's just nice. And then you also see like the crowd, and obviously, Japan has a lot more to cheer about for their national team, but
Yeah,
it's just like I said, it's just night and day to experience that, and then experience that, like
yeah,
to be like in that epic. Because like I was at a ramen place and they were showing like the game against Brazil, and so like I said, it's just night and day to like where people are like so proud and like you see some type of like patriotism or like some type of love for it. And then you go to this one and you feel like disgust, like
Yeah.
asco, like just get the hell away from me, shit.
Pena
Or
ajena.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
We'll go ahead, Fernando. I
Dude,
don't know if you want to add anything else before we close this out.
At this point, in my opinion, just we're just going to this World Cup because we're like
because we're
part of it.
hosting.
But yeah, it's
We're
sad
hosting.
too that you're hosting the World Cup and then this is the generation that you get, and
Yeah.
it's really sad. Like you don't get the 2014 generation, the one that went to 2014 or the one that went to 2018. Because
Yeah,
you know
those Even this
It's
past one,
sad.
although they didn't do much, like they would have done better than this
Yeah.
one. But
Um.
at this point, Portugal is gonna win the World Cup. I'm just saying.
Well, we'll see. Well, I mean,
See?
they're going to be playing in Mexico for next year. What's funny is that they had to get like a game in the United States against Belgium too, so they can get that money. But well, whatever. Uh, one last thing I do want to mention. I know we said like it's on the shoulders of a 17-year-old. I hope for from a Monterrey perspective, I hope that we can start producing a lot more younger Mexican players because I think Monterrey has a really good. I'm not saying we have to be Pachuca, but
Aldito
and
is showing
we
it.
can we can tie it in. We can tie it into the getting younger, but it's just like I want some players from our youth academy, so we can have like a good core of players that know what it means to play for Monterrey, like to have that you know honor, respect, because I feel like, and again, we'll see if they were faking it, but if you're having a bunch of older guys that are just here for you're paying them, and I mean Fimbres and Mojica, but they're not like bona fide. They can start, but
And
they're not
Mojica
consistent
comes in for
starters.
6 minutes and scores a goal.
Yeah, but it's just like we don't have that the players that core. It's just like we know what it means. Like we know what this club means to us, and I think, and I'm gonna tie it into like with PSG. They started to bring in players from the Paris area where there's like or French players that hold like we respect this club. We're not just bringing in guys that don't respect this club. We're starting to bring in players that are hungry and we're promoting our within our academy or grabbing players from the region that respect it. So I feel like to tie it all, end it all together. If you guys want to add one last remark, like I think that's what I think Monterrey needs to. I think Monterrey kind of needs those players. Like I think they need 3 or 4. Like again, I'm not saying you need to be Pachuca, but you can't tell me that an Aldo Patricio can't start getting
He
minutes.
better
That
start.
Fimbres can't start getting
He
minutes.
needs.
That you can't find a left back or a right back in your youth academy.
We
That you can't find a midfielder in your youth academy or a goalkeeper in your youth. Like I'm sorry, Monchis. Goodbye. You're 30 years old. How about giving this kid that's 2021 as a third stringer? Give him some minutes. Um, I think that's what Monterrey also needs, and maybe that's just me, my romantic like the romantic side that I have with the sport, where I feel like you do need some players that respect your club and know
yeah.
what it means, so like they can that energy that they bring in terms of like respect and honor and all this and that can kind of like feed the other players that maybe don't know what this club means, right? Because
Like
if you get a
Cesar
bunch,
Garza,
yeah,
that he had a chance and
I
he's in
mean,
Dundee right now.
go ahead, Fernando. I'll let you wrap it up, and Samita, if you want to add anything else.
I mean, at the end of the day, we don't want players that just feel like mercenaries, because
Yeah,
that's what they are. They just come
I
in
mean,
for the
I don't
money.
have a
They leave.
problem with it, but I think if you have a common like if I think if we can always get the I know Canales is like I feel like Canales has been the exception where like yes he's not he has like it's because he's a professional, right?
Yeah,
He respects the club. It's not his, and I don't expect him to be rah 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 like oh I love this club or whatever. I respect the club. I respect the people in it, and that's good by me because this is at the end of the day it's a job for them.
yeah,
But I just feel like Monterrey has contracted too many mercenaries or players that are just like, oh, they just pay me the most money. I'm gonna come here, and that's it. Like
yeah.
you saw it with Rodrigo Aguirre, guys like João Rojas. They're like, and I don't blame them for that. Like sticking their feet into the ground and being like, you're gonna pay me every last peso that you owe me. And that's I mean that's the club for not doing their homework and thinking like these guys are just money hungry players and they're only driven by money and that's it. But yeah,
Yep.
that's a conversation to have after the season and see how it goes. Like we'll see if you guys are right and you know they were faking it. Zamira, anything you want to add last, and where can people find you?
No,
Because
just that like it's not like it's really complicated for Rayados to like refresh and bring younger kids. Having players like Aldo Patricio, like Mojica, like Valenzuela, especially making sure that they have the body and the physic physical health to actually play for La Liga, because I feel like that's what happened with Cesar Garza, and I feel that's what happening with Iker Fimbres. You're young, you're like, giving all your effort. But if you stop giving all that effort, eventually you have like disadvantages. So that's something that they do need to focus on, bringing young kids, but also making sure that they're gonna have um I mean, like Tony Leone, but he hasn't done anything. So
Yeah, no, and he's
you
gotten some
gotta
But he
chances.
doesn't have minutes.
I mean,
exactly.
he's gotten
So
some chances, like against
this last game, I think.
Vancouver. I know he played against. Did he? I don't know if he played in Leafs Cup.
I
Mhm.
mean,
That would have been fine if he would have played Leafs again. God, I'm not.
this
I'm,
season
I'm gonna leave it
alone,
there. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna go into that Leafs Cup thing.
this
I'll
season
leave it there.
alone, Tony Leone just had 2 games.
Damn, it's sad, and he's young, and he has this great physique to be.
You gotta tell him to hit the gym too, man. You gotta tell him, hey, learn. You gotta hit the gym because some of them do look like. Again. I'm not gonna go into it
Could you
because
imagine? Could you imagine Arteaga being buff?
you see like the
He
teenagers,
should.
the Mexican teenagers, they look like teenagers, but when they play against like Brazil and Argentina, then those guys they're the same age and just look their body and the
They
way they're
all look like
constructed just look
malandros, like well,
yeah
it's that
uh,
that's something
They
they
have
gotta
the
take
Entric
care.
build.
But
uh,
again, it's being mediocre that you're not giving, that you have that disadvantage. So you gotta give that extra, and
yeah
that's what we lack,
yeah.
giving that extra.
And Fernando, anything you want to add before I wrap it up? No,
We'll just see.
I'll
At
say
this point, I'm tired. It
oh
would be a really nice end of the year to win a championship, but hey, it's been a bad year for all of
uh,
us. Let's hope it doesn't
at,
let Fornero that.
at least they don't get the America that was winning, that won a three-peat. I think this is like
Yeah,
I think as Samira said, like this is the America that's at the end of the line, and they need to refresh their squad as well because whatever they had for or the core that was for their three consecutive titles, it's gotten older. It's not the same anymore. Malagon has like completely fallen off a cliff, and so you're I can if they can't take advantage of a goalkeeper who's you know in the mine isn't
yeah.
right now, then I don't know what.
They
Uh,
better.
Thank you
That's
so
something.
much
I don't
to
think that's
everyone.
something. I hope that's something. Okay, we just brought this up towards the end of the podcast. I really hope that's something that people discuss. That you're facing a goalkeeper whose mindset right now is at the lowest, at
Got
its
messed up.
lowest, and it would just be so Monterrey to like give him confidence.
Oh my god. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens
Fingers
there. But
crossed.
yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I really appreciate anybody for listening, and we'll try to do this somewhere in the middle. Hopefully it's not like at the end of the America series because then it means like you know
It's gonna age
it's
bad.
Either we're happy or sad.
yeah. So we'll
No in
see.
between.
We'll hope we'll try to I'll try to get you guys to record something at the America tonight. Hopefully it's good news and not like we have to prepare
Depression.
for the off season and then yeah. But yeah, I really appreciate anybody for listening and yeah,
Thank
thanks for listening.
you.
Thank y'all.